Greetings from far south, and thank you for attending this talk. I'll be sharing with you results of a study that is still going on, still being reviewed. Hopefully, it will be published uh, within the next months. So, well, the global oceans have been experiencing increasing pressures from human activities. This map here in this slide is from Halpern et al. 2015, and they found that 66% of oceans are under increasing impacts from human activities. And thanks to Kreutzmann and co-authors, 2018, we now know that most of these changes can be regarded to industrial fisheries that cover over 55% of global oceanic areas. Recent studies have suggested that in order to properly guarantee the functioning of marine ecosystems on a global scale, we should be protecting half of the ocean. Unfortunately, at this point, only 7.4% of global ocean is under protection. And if we consider high protection enforcement like no-take areas, it's even less than that. Well, the southern oceans can be considered a global hotspot of top predators diversity. If seeing this map, made from data of BirdLife International and IUCN, we can see that between 40 degrees south and 65 degrees south, we can find the highest amount of top predators number of species globally. So it includes waters of temperate oceans, subantarctic oceans, and the northern range of the polar front. Studies have showed that in this region, there has been increasing pressures from fisheries and climate change. Particularly the fisheries overlap with marine top predators hotspots all over the area. So aiming to contribute both to identifying areas of high importance for conservation on the southern oceans and areas of high impact from fishing activities, I enter data of suitability modeling, habitat suitability modeling of 53 species of southern ocean top predators, including whales, seals, penguins, albatrosses, and petrels, to the zonation software. Zonation is a software that uses prioritization and connectivity rules to calculate a spatial ranking of conservation based on the importance of the area, from the number of species occurring there and the connectivity to the surrounding areas. And from this calculation, it can also, as we can see in this plot here, it can also calculate at the level of species the percentage of coverage of that ranking of conservation. And as a further step, by including fishery as a cost in the model, we can calculate how the fishing activities displaces this coverage, again at a specific level. And this displacement of this line corresponds to the amount of overlap a species have with the fisheries. The higher the overlap, the higher will be this displacement of this line. So I apply that for all the species. Here we have a plot with the mean values for groups of species: cetaceans, seals, penguins, and albatrosses and petrels. And we can see that different types of fisheries produce different displacements of this conservation value, this conservation ranking, coverage. But if we see the higher ranks, above 75%, the fishing activities with the higher change are both trawlers and longliners fisheries for all groups of species. And when we compare the spatial outputs with the current network of marine protected areas in the Southern Ocean, we can see that there is a considerable mismatch between the protected areas and the zones of higher vulnerability of top predators to fishing activities, particularly in the South Atlantic Ocean, the South American coast, the northern tip of the Antarctic Peninsula, the East Antarctica, are areas with a let's see a consistent spatial change, a consistent spatial impact of fisheries with not enough marine protected areas. So it is of concern because we know that the Southern Oceans have been experiencing increasing fishing pressures, and this study from 2018 showed us that at one hand the fisheries effort and productivity have been increasing in the Southern Oceans considerably. On the other hand, the seabird population's productivity is decreasing steadily. And this is particularly concerning on the Antarctic Peninsula, as you can see here in this map. And it may make us question whether the krill fisher, that's the only fishery activity allowed in Antarctica now, is having an impact on seabird populations. The first evidences of impact of krill fisheries on penguin are being published. You can see other presentations that INACH is presenting on this conference, and this study from Waters et al. to understand it a little bit more. Well, at one hand, the Southern Oceans have some of the largest protected areas in the world. The subantarctic islands have huge protected areas that cover very important ecosystems in the Southern Oceans. However, the continental high Antarctic waters are some of the least protected marine provinces. Less than 0.05% of the high Antarctic waters is under protection. The good news is that a higher protection of the Antarctic oceans is readily achievable. There are propositions of marine protected areas by the Commissioner of the Conservation of Antarctic Marine and Living Resources that, if accepted right now, they would increase Antarctica protection to 22%. So it is good news that we can achieve that fairly easily. Well, that's what I wanted to talk to you. I'd like to thank the Marine Protected Areas Program from the Chilean Antarctic Institute. And I'd like to say that data from this study came from open data repositories. And well, I could not acknowledge all the authors that deposited data there, but in a future publication, it will be listed and properly acknowledged. So thank you everyone who makes your science open. And thank you to the other data institutions like Global Fishing Watch, BirdLife International, IUCN, Protected Planet, that are doing great contributions to science. Thank you